In this tutorial, we will look at factoring trinomials when the a value is 1. To factor a trinomial with a equal to 1, the trinomial must be in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. We're going to multiply the a and the c and then find the factors of ac. We'll come back to steps 4 and 5. So in letter A is what's in front of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant. So a equals 1, b equals -4, and c equals -12. So we start off with step 2, which is multiply a, which is 1, and c, which is -12. 1 times -12 is -12. So we're going to take -12 and find the factors. So we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Then we're going to look at what multiplies to get a negative. So we know a positive times a negative is our negative right here. And then what we're going to do is in step 4, if our AC is negative, so we're looking here, then the sign of B tells the sign of the larger number. So since we have a positive and a negative, our B value is -4, so they have to add up to -4. And since it's a -4 and they have opposite signs, then the bigger number has to be the negative, and the smaller has to be the positive. So when we're looking at the numbers, which two combine to get -4? 2 and -6. So we have our B value of -4 and a +2 and a -6 combined to make -4. And that is where our diagonals come in. So when we combine like terms to get -4x and make it a trinomial, 2x and -6x combine to do that. So let's go ahead and fill out our box. So we have x squared, that goes in the corner. And then to make -4x, we take a +2x, combine it with a -6x, and then we have our c value, or a constant, down in the corner. Then we're going to look at, we can divide by x, and we can divide the next by -6 because that is negative. And then we have x, and we can divide by 2, and this says that it is positive. So our factors are x minus 6 and x plus 2. Okay, in letter B, we have our a value is still 1, because that's in front of the x squared. Our b value is +13, because that's in front of the x. And our c value is 36. We're going to take a times c, and we get 36. And then our b value is a +13. So we'll take 36, find the factors, +36. We have 1 and 36. 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, 5 and nothing, 6 and 6. And then we're going to look at, to get a positive number, we can have a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. So in step 4, it says if the AC is positive, then the B value, +13, dictates the sign, so we have both positives. So these are all positive numbers. And then we look at, when we combine them together, we need a 13. So if we look at all the numbers that add up, we know 4 and 9 add up to 13, so +4 and a +9 add up to 13, and those are our diagonal x values. When we combine 4x and x, we get the middle term 13x. So let's fill it in. We have x squared, and then 13x splits into 4x and 9x, and then our constant is 36. And we're going to factor out what's common. So on the top row I have x, then I have 9, and because this is positive, and then I can factor out an x, and factor out a 4, and because this is positive, this is positive. So we have x plus 9 and x plus 4. Letter C, we have our a value is still 1, our b value is negative 9, and our c value is positive 20. So a times c is 20, and then our b value is negative 9. So we're going to find factors of 20. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 doesn't go in, 4 and 5, and that's it. Then we're going to look at, to get a positive number, I can have a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. And as it says in step 4, the b value dictates that these are both negative. So it's negative, 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 negative. So we have to combine them together to get a negative 9. So negative 4 and negative 5. And those are our x values that combine to make negative 9x. So in our square, we have x squared, and then negative 9x splits into negative 4x, negative 5x, and then our constant is a positive 20. So in the first row, we divide on x. Second row, we have a 5, and because this is negative, and we have an x and a 4, and because this is negative, that's negative. So we have x minus 5 times x minus 4. Let's look at letter D. So we have A is 1, B is 6, and C is negative 27. And we have A times C, so 1 times negative 27 is negative 27. So we have negative 27 splits into 1 and 27, 2 and nothing, 3 and 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't divide it by any of those. So we go back to our b value is a positive 6. And to get a negative number, we have to take a positive times a negative. And in step 4, it says if it is a negative AC, then we take the sign of our b value, which is positive, and that is the bigger number. So this is a positive 27 and a negative 1, a positive 9 and a negative 3. So of those two combinations, negative 3 and 9 make a positive 6. So we have negative 3, positive 9, and those are x terms that add up to 6x. So we're going to fill in our square. X squared, 6x splits into negative 3x and positive 9x, and then our constant is negative 27. So first row we divide out x. Second, we can divide everything by 9 and our plus sign. And then in our column we have an x and then 3, and because this is a negative 3, this is a negative 3. So x plus 9 times x minus 3 is factored form.